Ted Connell. I'm with BlueSkies.AI, and I want to tell you a story about the digital transformation journey that we took on with Johnson & Johnson and Intel. So a little bit of the background. I used to be with Intel, and I've been working with a lot of people out here over the years between IBM and Intel. And Johnson & Johnson had some problems. Like everybody else has been talking about, through this digital transformation, they had some problems, but they had a quality problem. They were using manual inspection for their products. And as you all well know, human beings cannot focus 100% of the time. Why did the Steelers make that trade? Oh, I was supposed to be watching this. We can't focus. We just don't do it. At best, human beings can get 98%, but that's when they're really trying. And the third shift doesn't really try, as you well know. So what do? We had to solve this problem. So we knew that AI had the potential to solve this problem. So the hypothesis was we can reduce human inspection with AI at less cost and far greater accuracy. So we put a team together and said, let's go make this happen. So I'm going to take a pause and do a call out to my client, J&J. I think they are a benchmark in digital transformation. They have a corporate-wide team. Before the announcement of the divestiture, it had all 4 business units in it, so everywhere from pharmaceutical to consumer. It still does, by the way. They put it on the executive level. There's a senior vice president reporting who runs it. It's reporting to the board of directors, so there's visibility and there's significant funding behind it. They have a process. It's an agile process, so they have a process to run. They empower local plants, so you have a corporate-wide feature empowering local plants to run projects. And then once you have projects that are successful, they promote them across the company. They don't force people to adopt them. It's a pull methodology, but they go out and promote them. So factories have the choice of, do I want to include this new success or not? But if any of you guys have ever worked at a factory, the one thing that the factory manager is most interested in is producing stuff at the right cost. And if other factories are producing more at lower cost, they're probably going to adopt that new technology. And another thing, and this is how I got involved with this, is this digital transformation team benchmark his other company. So I was leading the IoT go-to-market for Intel in the industrial sector, and I took Johnson & Johnson to our Intel fab and let them benchmark the Intel fab. One thing about an Intel fab, we talked about that in the morning with Jeff talking about Intel was forced to go on this journey 20 years ago. The new generation of Intel chips, the wire and the electronics coming out, if you think about the wire, it's 10 atoms in diameter. The wire is 10 atoms in diameter. So manufacturing at the atomic level forced Intel to go through this process, and a lot of the problems you guys are having today, Intel solved 20 years ago, and they'll partner and talk to you about it. So I would highly suggest everybody out there, to call out to Intel also. They're willing to partner with people and to benchmark, and I would highly suggest doing that. Because it shows you the art of the possible. When you're walking through a lights-out manufacturing facility or doing a window tour, you see this can really happen. This is 100% automation. The remote operating center where the control for the factory is in a building next door to the factory, and you're wearing flip-flops. You're not wearing the gowns, and you don't have to wear masks and all this uncomfortable, really hot material suits. You wear shorts and flip-flops, and that's what they wear. So it's much better for the people, and it's much better for the business. So on the local teams, they empower the local guys, because the local guys know what the problems are. They've been working this their whole lives. I started as a process engineer. I've worked with people doing visual inspection. It's a horrible job because the person knows they can't do it, because they're always missing defects. And when they find a defect, they got to go tell someone who made the defects, hey, you made a defect. It's a horrible job. And we've been talking about we don't have enough workers in the world, right? We don't have enough industrial workers. You're paying people to do non-value-added work if they're doing inspection. You have a trained person on your staff not adding value. That's not cool. You can reassign that person to a value-added job immediately. That's worth doing this just by itself. So the local people know what the problems are, and they partner with the corporate team to get the assets and to get the technologies they need to solve their local problems. And then they know how to scale them because they're in their own factory. So, as I said, the background of the project was to replace manual inspection with AA. If you guys sell product in Japan, you realize it's probably the most difficult quality country for the expectations and the level that they require in quality. So what happened is this plant, who's producing product, Not all the product that they produce are produced in their plant. They may be packaging something that's produced in Puerto Rico or in Europe or somewhere else. So they import product and then they package it. And they had a big problem with inspecting. They had lots of people doing inspection. It wasn't working. They looked at doing visual inspection, machine learning, but the Windows-based, the rules-based, Cognitive-based systems were just too expensive for what they were doing. There was just not the margin in there to afford to do that kind of work. So as a result, they had manual inspection, and they were stuck with it. So we teamed up and we solved the problem. So we partnered with Intel and Blue Skies, and we proved out in a minimal viable product that we can inspect over 99.9%. The only reason we only have 3 nines is the design of experiment. It actually came out 100%, but being an engineer, I won't say that if I don't have enough data to really claim that. And now we're qualifying across J&J. So we solved the problem. The local engineering team, and this is part of the promotion. What the corporate team promotes across the company, but they also encourage the local teams to get involved with the IISE and other industry groups to go out and market the success they had. So this project was just presented at the annual event a couple weeks ago. It was one of the 10 finalists in the world. So Morikawa-san, our partner in Japan, led the team. He built this project. It's his project. He owns this project. Corporate supported him. Corporate introduced me to him. He told corporate, I have a problem with visual inspection. Corporate said, hey, AI, let's try this. So that's how that works. Corporate empowers the local people, and then the local people, this guy's psyched because he's going to get promoted. He's now out there talking in Seattle at an event. He's got some really cool project he's running, and he's got corporate visibility across J&J at the senior vice president level. So that's the benchmark. That's the standard of how you get out there and make change. Because ultimately, we talked about this for the last 3 days. Ultimately, change has nothing to do with technology. It has everything to do with culture. Because technology, yeah, it changes, but it's the people. You got to change the people. And empowering the people, empowering the local, creating a corporate group to empower the local has been working in this case. So I know we've been running a little bit over. That's the presentation that I have. Why AI now? I was at Ford at their Advanced Manufacturing Center, and I was talking to the guy who runs it. This is 3D printing, autonomous driving, all the fun stuff, machine vision. And they were asking the question, do I buy a lot of hardware today because Google's building a TensorFlow? What's a tensor chip? Do I spend money now? Because I look at these roadmaps, and Intel's roadmap, they got a huge vision roadmap. Why am I buying today when we can sell tomorrow? So what we came up with J&J is we sell it as a service. So we abstract all technology risk from the client. So that way J&J doesn't have to invest in a lot of hardware. We run on a VM. We can run on the cloud, your cloud, whichever one you want. We can run in your data center, or we could run on an edge industrial PC. It's a very transparent system. It's all on virtual machines, so we can easily move it around. Autonomous machine vision, we were kind of talking about that with the AWS. Unsupervised machine vision, unsupervised learning. This is where you just show it a couple examples. So in our case, we have an inspection tool. You show it your gold standard of inspection. It's what you train your inspectors with. This is good, this is bad. You show it to the machine, and the machine can train itself. You don't need data scientists. You don't need to program. You just need to install it. One of the key requirements of this project is we have to scale it. And J&J has hundreds of plants all over the world, and very few of them, if any, have a data scientist. They have process engineers, and they have site services, just like your plants. So that was the requirement, is we had to make this work within that environment. And another reason to do this now is, as I was saying, freeing up industrial workers. My clients are having a heck of a time finding workers. I have a client who literally cannot staff a third shift. Athens, Georgia, cannot staff the third shift. They have demand, they just can't build. This gives you a way to get people working on, who are currently doing non-value-added work to doing value-added work. So it's got a lot of value to your company. So that's the story. That was the journey we took with Johnson & Johnson and Intel. Thank you very much.